We all feel safe because of these people who do their job with dedication and honesty. But what if that changed? What if these people cross to the other side of the street and become part of what they are fighting against? Money and power work wonders, and many cannot resist them. But is it really worth selling out the people and betraying your badge? Some people don't see anything wrong with that because they are similar to them. But then, who should these people rely on in case of some trouble? Fortunately, they are not untouchable either. There is an old saying that says, "What you plant will grow," and in this case, they sprouted a prison sentence. This is Michael Dotro. Having been on the Edison police force for 9 years, he is accused of setting fire to the residence of Mark Anderco, a captain who was appointed deputy chief, at approximately 4 in the morning on May 20th, 2013. Anderco managed to flee the house unhurt as his wife, 2 small children, and mother, 92, slept inside with him. Fortunately, no one was hurt. Following his 11th complaint of excessive force, the captain allegedly instructed the officer to have a psychological assessment, at which point the officer claimed to set fire to Anderco's house. In that case, Dotro pleaded not guilty. Dotro and 4 other officers entered a guilty plea in September for their participation in a scheme to retaliate against a North Brunswick police officer who had issued a drunk driving citation to one of the officer's relatives. Prosecutors claim that Dotro plotted to sell marijuana while in uniform, cut a woman's tires, and improperly accessed the police department's records database for personal purposes in a separate case against the officer. After Dotro entered the courtroom, his wife, Alicia, yelled out, "You're a monster. You're a manipulative monster," before being told by an officer that she would have to remain quiet or risk being removed. After the sentencing, Alicia Dotro said people don't know what's been going on behind closed doors for the past 3 years, adding that she had been manipulated by a man who was not the person she once knew. "Basically, I came here to watch him being taken away in handcuffs and give me a chance to start my new life," she said. The judge was disappointed in this case.
Victims are afraid to come forward to be part of the criminal justice system and get the relief that they're entitled to from being victimized because they have no faith in it, because they don't know who to trust.
He also said something about honor.
Even more importantly, we have other individuals every day who put on a badge which represents honor, service, and integrity. And without question, go out there every day, leave their family behind to protect an entire community.
He was sentenced to 26 years in prison and without possibility of parole until the completion of 17 years of the prison sentence. Kenneth Bluew. Jennifer Webb, 32, had established a decent life for herself in Buena Vista, Michigan, with the help of her parents and friends. She wasn't in a relationship, but she was 8.5 months pregnant with a baby boy she'd named Braxton.
Opened the wallet up, went through the wallet, found the ID, and at that point I went, "Oh, I know this girl."
Unfortunately, she died before she could give birth and fulfill her dreams of becoming a single but loving mother. Jennifer's body was discovered in a drainage ditch on August 30th, 2011, with an extension cable wrapped around her neck and tied to the roof rack of her vehicle. She appeared to have hanged herself. Kenneth Bluew was the first Buena Vista Township police officer to arrive on the site, followed by Tim Patterson. They approached the car as is customary, pulled out her handbag to look for an identity card, and ended up finding a written suicide note. It said that she lied to her friends and family about the identity of the baby's father, claiming he was Chris, a man she met at a bar on a random night. According to Jennifer's statement, she couldn't afford to support herself and her baby, and that this was the only way out. However, not only did Jennifer's family feel the letter was a forgery and the suicide was staged, but medical experts verified this in the autopsy. Her cause of death was determined to be neck compressions rather than ligature strangulation, implying that someone else had strangled her to death from behind. In other words, she did not die by hanging herself. She died as a result of someone else's acts. As a result, her case was probed as a cold-blooded and premeditated murder, which stunned officials for a variety of reasons. According to those closest to Jennifer Webb, she claimed that a guy she had known for over a decade, police officer Kenneth Bluew, was her baby daddy. The numerous communications between them on her cell phone showed this. The state police were contacted because the local city department was unable to investigate one of its own. Officer Tim Patterson later revealed that he was sent to the area because Ken hadn't answered his police radio in over an hour, not because he had gotten a call from dispatch regarding the incident. The officer knew Ken patrolled around that area on a regular basis, so he drove there, only to discover his car shining a light on Jennifer and him sweating heavily. They surveyed the situation together before calling dispatch, but Tim suggested that his behaviors that evening were strange and fidgety. Considering their line of work, the evidence against Ken piled up quickly. Everything incriminated him, from his and only his fingerprints on the suicide note to his blood on the inside of a latex glove discovered from the murder scene to the scratches he had.
And made it look like something it wasn't. And that person, ladies and gentlemen, is that man right there.
At the end of the trial, the judge gave his statement.
I've never in my 30-year career seen a case like this one.
The mother of the murdered woman also spoke there.
Evil monster is the only words that I can think of for you. So go to your cage and think about how you squeezed the life and breath out of my daughter and grandson. And I hope it haunts you every day for the rest of your life.
He was sentenced to life imprisonment without the possibility of parole. After the trial, the murdered girl's father gave a statement.
You can't, you can't lose a child like that and expect to ever get over it.
Michael Valva.
In one of the most heartbreaking cases ever put before a Long Island jury, a judge today sentenced former NYPD officer Michael Valva to the max for murdering his 8-year-old son. CBS 2's Jennifer McLogan has covered the tragic abuse case from the beginning. She was in the Riverhead courtroom when Valva spoke for the first time.
Valva, 43, was found guilty in the heartbreaking 2020 death of his 8-year-old son, Thomas, after the ex-cop locked the little boy in an unheated garage overnight. Thomas died of hypothermia after being exposed to freezing temperatures for up to 16 hours, with the mercury dipping below 20 degrees. The boy's older brother, Anthony, then 10, survived the same heinous treatment. Even in that shock, he wanted to cover this up.
My name is Michael. I'm a police officer with the city of New York. My son, I don't know if he's breathing or not. I don't know if his heart stopped. He fell down on his way to the bus. He banged his head pretty good. I brought him in, and I'm doing CPR right now.
The pair's exile to the garage was the culmination of a pattern of abuse. The principal at Thomas's school testified at trial that educators had made a slew of calls to Child Protective Services over concerns that brothers were being abused at home. The killer made a statement.
First, I want to express to you and everyone involved in this case, sorry, that I am truly sorry. I am regretful, ashamed.
Emotions began to affect him, but he continued with his statement.
As I still love Anthony and Andrew, never in my worst nightmare would I imagine being responsible for Thomas's death. My sons mean everything to me. I wanted them to grow up in a loving and happy family. I fought so hard to obtain custody.
The verdict was next.
Jested, nor did Angela Polina. He didn't even bring him inside where it was warm, despite knowing that Thomas fell because he was cold.
Fortunately, these are not events that happen often, and there are still a huge number of people who value the word respect, the badge, and who will stand up for the citizens no matter what. These honest people are constantly on the rise, and with superhuman efforts, they are trying to stop those who abuse their positions for their passionate crimes. If you want more content like this, hit that like and subscribe button. Thanks for watching.